So, good morning. I hope you're all right. I hope you had a good night's sleep and ready for lots of learning this morning. I'm going to be sharing a screen at the moment in a minute, which will be our starting off with our spelling. So we're going to look at some key strategies first of all. So if you could have your book ready, and first thing I'm going to do when I share the screen is ask you to write today's date. So here we go. You should see your screen now. I'm just going to pop it onto slideshow. Let's just get rid of that there. There we go. Okay. Move me out of the way. Go over there, Mrs. Reed. Okay, everyone. So Tuesday, the 30th of June, last day of June today. Think it, would you, looking out the window, but never mind. Please write the date neatly at the top of your page. Make sure you spell Tuesday correctly. It's a really tricky word to spell. And make sure you use those capital letters for your days of the week, months of the year, those starter proper nouns, please. Okay, so today, while you're doing that, I'll just chunter on. We're going to use some different spelling strategies. We're going to investigate some common spelling patterns, probably a bit of recap for you, some of them that we've done the last couple of weeks, and then we're going to investigate prepositions. And we're going to be investigating prepositions because that will lead into our writing focus for tomorrow. And we're going to leave characters for a little while. We are going to look at settings, okay? And prepositions are really, really important when we describe settings. Okay, so that's the focus for today. I'll share the first screen and then I'm going to come out of it and I do that there, and I'm going to lock the screen. So we'll make a start. Are you ready? So just your date today, spelling success, just like we do on a Monday. First thing we're going to start is a word web, just as a warm up there. So we've got the word friend, we've got the root word friend in the middle of our page. You probably won't need a whole page in your book for this, but just the top half of your page would be brilliant. And I'm going to do this with you as well. So I'm going to write the word friend. And remember, friend is always a tricky word as well. There's an end in friend, fry end, that can help you spell it as well. Okay, so just make sure you get your I and your E around the correct way. Now, a word web is how many words can you think of with the friend word family? So it might be that you are adding a prefix. It might be that you are adding a suffix. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to think of how many words contain the root word friend, and I'm going to warm my brain up as well by having a go. Okay, now this is quite a tricky one. I'm not going to give you ages because you'll sit there racking your brains trying to think. And actually, it's not an exhaustive list. So if I share with you what I've got, so I've got my friend word, my root word in the beginning. And then what I've done is I've just made it plural. One friend, two friends with an S on the end. Because an S can be a suffix, it does change the meaning. It takes the noun from a singular noun to a plural noun. Then I would be using here, down here, you can see the word friendly. Okay, and that would be an adjective using the root word friend. And then what I've done is I've used a prefix un with friendly. So I've got a suffix and a prefix using, so that becomes unfriendly. Okay. Then down here, I've got friendship, okay? So friendship, and that is what we would call an abstract noun because you can't feel or touch it, but it's there. And I didn't put it on there, but I meant to add an S to that to make friendships because you may have many friends. Now, if you've got more than that, you are super duper brilliantly wonderful. One thing I did include, and this is all about language emerging. I've put there in inverted commas, unfriend. Now, unfriending is a fairly new term that's used, and it can often be used with relation to social media. Okay, so you might be on a platform that you use, although I would imagine at your age you're not on many platforms yet, but as you get older and you might be allowed to use different social media platforms to talk to people, you might decide to unfriend someone. Now, I'm not sure if that's in the dictionary yet. What happens with language is that it evolves over time, and when it becomes commonly used, it then gets included. So I'm going to check up on that. Okay, so to unfriend would be that you no longer wish to have them in your friendship group that you would have on a social media platform. You might use it in your everyday thing, oh, I'm going to unfriend you. And this is where we see this kind of slang expression coming into normal things. So language is amazing, it's incredible, and it evolves and changes all the time, depending on what we're doing in the sort of culture that we're living in. Off we go then. That was just a little warm up to get your brains moving. Now, palm writers today. So hopefully your hands are nice and clean. It doesn't matter if they're not really because I can't see them. So method 6 is palm writers. And you can see we've got our 4 words taken from our spelling list for years 3 and 4. We've got reign, which would be talking about a queen reigning over her nation or a king. Not the rain that we can see out the window at the moment. I don't know about where you are, but it's raining where I am. Sentence, address, and arrive. So these are all words that are perhaps a bit tricky to spell, but we can use method 6 palm writers. I'm going to model the first one. I'm going to look closely at the word. Now, when I look at rain, I notice that there's a silent G. So that's something I mustn't forget. There's a G in there somewhere, and I mustn't forget it. And I know that Ian and I say A. And I know the initial sound is a R sound, and the end sound is a N sound. So from that, I can remember and start to think about that word. So I'm going to say it 3 times. Rain, rain, rain. And as I'm saying it, I'm looking at it. I'm going to count the letters in the word. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters in the word rain. I'm going to say the letter name. So that's not the sound, that's the name. So I'm going to say R-E-I-G-N. And then I'm going to take my little hand here and I'm going to write the letters into the palm of my hand with my Peter Pointer index finger, saying the letter names as I write. So I'm going to write R-E-I-G-N. Now, your hands are going to be about, I've got very small hands, so my hands might be the same size as yours, and yours might be a little bit smaller as well. With this, you don't have to try and fit the whole word across your palm. You can just do the letters over the top of one another, okay? So I'm going to close my eyes now, all right? So I still know what's going on. I'm going to close my eyes, I'm going to write the whole word into my palm, and I'm going to say those letters out loud. This is the hardest one to do of this, okay, because you've only seen these words. So it doesn't matter, you can have a sneaky peek if you need to. So close my eyes, and then I'm going to go R-E-I-G-N, okay. When I did that, I've got an imaginary whiteboard up here, okay? You can't see it because it's imaginary, but it's in here. And when I actually imagine writing those words and saying those words out loud, or those letters out loud, I'm seeing them in my head on my whiteboard, okay? Now, if you had to check before the end of the word, because you might have to, rain's only 5 letters, it's fairly easy to remember. But when you've got a longer word like sentence or address, it might mean that you have to have a little sneaky peek or do it a few more times. And then the final one, and I won't be writing it on paper, I'm going to be writing it on here. Write the words on paper saying the letter names in your head. So R-E-I-G-N. N. You can join or you can print. It's your choice with these. And then I'm going to check. So yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters, and R-E-I-G-N. Okay, so I checked by doing a little dot that I had 5, and then I gave a little tick for the correct letters in the correct position. Right, over to you now. I'm going to give you 5 minutes practice to work your way through the Method 6 palm writers for the next 3 words. So I'd like you to work on sentence, address, and arrive. Now, address, double D, all right? Remember that one. There's dress in there, one word, or there's add, as in add and subtract. Okay, off you go. I can see you there with your little hands, writing out these letters. See you with your eyes closed. You can't see me. Not if you've got your eyes closed. Okay, I'm going to give you 1 more minute for this. If you don't finish them all, it's not a problem because this is teaching you a strategy rather than teaching you those words. Those words are examples for you to practice that strategy, okay? And don't ever worry that if you're trying to do this at home without this Method 6 in front of you, don't ever worry. As long as you can do some of those things, you'll remember writing it on your palm, you'll remember seeing it in your head, you'll remember counting the letters and saying the letter names in order, okay? So this just provides you with a different way of learning your spellings rather than just writing them out, actually, which can get a little bit dull and you can get a little bit fed up with just doing that. It still works, but it's just nice to mix it up. Okay, we're going to finish that now. So well done. However far you got, fantastic. If you finished, brilliant. I'm going to just stop sharing just for a sec so that I can come in and not this meeting. Okay, and we're going to share again. There we go. Oh, sorry. Now, I'm going to sort these words into the correct column. This is returning to our or sound that we looked at a couple of weeks ago, maybe even just last week. And each of these words here, you'll notice, have a different way of writing the or sound. What I'd like you to do in your book is to draw 5 little columns. And in one of your columns at the top, you're going to write OR. Next to it, double OR, ORE, AW, AU. You don't need to draw a whole table, as long as you've got a line going down with a ruler to separate those different spellings. And then I'm going to give you 5 minutes to sort these words into the correct place. So it's about sorting the sounds. Okay, off you go. Sorry. going. Make sure you're checking those spellings of those words as well. Okay. Okay. Another 2 minutes. I might give you longer than that actually, because you've got to actually write them down, haven't you? Write the words and the sounds. Okay, keep going. So we've got snore, door, torch, saw, small, straw, floor, orange. I don't know about orange, I'm not happy about that one. Saw, autumn, score, pour, dawn, short, pause. Because I don't know with orange, I don't think we say orange. Well, some people might. Okay. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds now, and that 30 seconds is just for you to look at anything you haven't done and to have a little go in your head about where you think they would go, okay? Because I know we do move through these quite quickly, but the idea is that you're just recognising that different words have different ways of spelling the same sound, okay? And looking at those words, I would imagine you understand as year 3 what each of those words mean and that you would be able to put them into a sentence. If you pause, there's some homophones there, pause, okay, that's a pause where you take a break and you stop talking, which I find quite difficult, rather than the pause on an animal, okay, that's a homophone. In fact, a lot of these are homophones as well. Now, one of them is pour, is another one. So you might pour a drink, or pour as in, I haven't got much money at the moment, I'm very poor. So we've got pour, pause and saw on my homophones there. And saw, obviously, is a homonym as well. Now, homonym is a word that is spelt the same and sounds the same. Okay, so you can saw something as in I saw it, past tense of see, or saw as in I saw something with, I saw some wood with a tool called a saw. And you've got the other saw, which is ouch, that hurts, that's rather sore. So words are amazing, aren't they? I love words. You can play around with them. They've got so many different ways of looking at them. So let's see how you got on with this. I'm going to put up where you should have gone. You can have a little look about those words fitting into those columns. How did you get on? We've got our AUs, our AWs, our OREs, our OOR and our OR, our torch and our orange, which very happy about orange being in there. I don't think it makes a similar sound to or, orange. And give yourselves a tick. If you didn't get all of them, then make sure that you would have understood perhaps that you would have put those words in a particular column, okay? So that was just a recap on our OR sound, which is a key sound for year 3, just to reinforce those phonemes to help our reading and our spelling. Okay, here we go. Now, again, another little recap of something that we would have looked at. Compound words are when 2 words that exist and make sense on their own are put together to make one new word. Okay, so have a little, this is a little challenge for you now. Down this side, we have battle, after, day, ward, butter, and clock. All words that stand alone, okay, they make sense. Over here, we have noon, cup, work, ship, robe, and break. And all of these words stand alone. And when you mix these up and you try and make up new words, you make up a completely new word, okay, with a different meaning. So I bet you're already starting to think, oh yeah, I know, I can do this. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to make up some compound words using the examples on the flip or on the screen here. And when you've done that, you could try and think of your own compound words. Okay, your own compound words. You can come up with some of your own. 2 words that make sense on their own, that stand together, put them together to make a new word and a new meaning. Okay, off you go. I'm going to try and find something as well. Trying to look around my kitchen for inspiration of compound words. Oh, look. Okay, okay, how have you done? Have you found them all? You're probably writing them out very neatly, so I'm going to give you a little bit more time so that you're spelling those words accurately and you're using beautifully gorgeous handwriting. Okay, I am going to show you the answers to these. So how did you do? Buttercup, battleship, wardrobe, afternoon, daybreak, and clockwork. Okay, so well done, super job if you got those. Well done as well if you managed to find a few of your own. So I think my brain's a bit slow today. I found greenhouse, playground, cupboard, light switch, and seaside. Okay, all very random. The only couple of things that I haven't got a greenhouse, I don't have a playground. I've got a cupboard and a light switch, and I wish I was by the seaside, but I don't know if I was there this morning. It wouldn't be very nice. So well done. Those are our compound words, okay? And if we can spell part of the words, it just makes it easier if we acknowledge that some of these words are made up of 2 separate words, and we can spell them separately and then bring them together, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about prepositions because this leads very nicely into our writing. And this is going to be the real focus now for the rest of our writing today, or our SPAG focus. Now, again, a little bit of thinking now for you to do. Prepositions are words which tell you where something is. They also tell you when something is, and they also tell you for how long. But today we are focusing on the positions of things, where they are, okay? So the example I've given, nice simple one, on. The cat sat on the mat, the preposition is on. I would like you now, please, for a minute, just to do a big brain shower there, and to think of as many other prepositions as you can. Top tip, have a look round to the room and see where things are, okay, in position. So, for example, I can see a glass on the table. I can see a clock on the wall. I can see salt in a pot. So I've got in. I can see a dish next to a cupboard, so next. I can see windows above me. I can see a chair beside me. So think of things to help you if you're getting a little bit stuck. Off you go. Just write them down for me on in your book, please. Okay, how are you doing? Let's have a little look at our next slide then and see if you've got some of these. Now, this is your opportunity now. If you want to magpie any of these examples that you didn't get, then you can, all right? So I've got above, I've got across, okay, against. So let's have a look. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got some leaflets against the wall over there. Along. So the floor runs along the side. Among. Okay. So there is a pencil among my pens. Around. There's a ribbon around the hat. At. Before. Behind. Below. Beneath. Beside. And between. And I've never noticed how many ones that begin with a B and an E before, I have to say, because I've rarely put them all together in one go, but just seeing that makes me think actually there's a lot of prepositions that begin with a B and an E. By, the book is by my side. Down, from, in, into, near, of, off, on, to and toward, under, upon, with and within. So again, a minute to jot down any of these that you didn't get, and then they create a little bank for you to refer back to tomorrow and for you to use today, okay, because they will come in handy with a little exercise that I'm going to ask you to do. Tomorrow, a lot of our work will be looking at prepositions, okay, a lot of our writing work, and I think you'll quite enjoy it. You can do some really creative writing. We're going to bring back those other things that we've looked at, like similes and noun phrases. And then what we've done over the week, we've recapped our skills, we've learnt some new skills, and then we mesh it all together, and in the end it just makes us really good writers because we've got all these different ways of writing in a descriptive fashion. Okay, hopefully you've got all of those now. Let's move on. If you haven't, don't worry, you can watch it later. Okay, now I don't want you to write these sentences out because that's a waste of your learning time. But I'd like you to think of a preposition that you would use where the gap is. Now, there might be more than one, okay? So when I give these answers, it's not the only answer it could be. He sat, we would all say on the chair. However, he sat behind the chair, beside the chair, next to the chair, upon the chair, under the chair. Depends how big the chair was. So have a little look, it's your choice, and I will give answers, but like I said, don't think you've got them wrong just because you've used a different preposition, because prepositions can be, there's a wide range of use, and what you need to do is in your head, as long as you can imagine what that picture looks like. He sat on the chair, he sat under the chair, so I'm picturing him sat on it, and then I'm picturing him sat under it, and then I'm picturing him sat next to it, or in front of it, or behind it. Then that is absolutely fine because you've understood clearly what that word means. So have a little go at these. I'll read them and you just write in your book the word, the preposition, not the whole sentence. Okay? So he sat in the chair. I've got to make sure I don't say the word. There is some milk in the fridge. She was hiding in the table. The cat jumped in the counter, and a counter is a bit like a bench, but a tall bench that you would put things on. You have a counter in a shop, you know, where you pay your money. He drove on the bridge. She lost her ring on the beach. This book belongs on Anthony. And they were sitting on the tree. Okay, so a minute to jot down which prepositions. What you could do if you finish is you could think, actually, what other preposition would go there? Because there could be a range. All right, just as an example that I gave you. Off you go. Okay, another 20 seconds. Okay, let's have a little look at these and see how you did. So, now again, like I said, this is not an exhaustive list. This is not necessarily the only option. So I said he sat on the chair. There is some milk in the fridge. Could be over the fridge, could be under the fridge. She was hiding under the table. Could be behind the table. Could be above the table, who knows. The cat jumped off the counter. Could be over the counter. He drove over or under the bridge. She lost her ring on or at the beach. This book belongs to Anthony. And I think that is probably the only preposition that would fit that sentence. They were sitting under, next to, or beneath the tree, below the tree. Okay, so you can see there that the prepositions are quite flexible, and it depends what image you want the reader to get. Okay, if you want to know that she's hiding under the table and you can picture her, then you're going to use that preposition. So they give detail to our writing, and they enable the reader to picture what's going on. Now, this is our final thing today. I think it is. Yes, it is. There we go. So, oh, no, hang on, Mrs. Reed. Got all excited there, didn't I? There's our preposition list below again. I'd like you to choose 5 words from there. So 5 preposition words. And I would like you to write some sentences. Now, we've probably got about 3 minutes left. So that is not enough time for you to get 5 sentences done, but I would like you to finish 5 sentences. And whether you choose to carry on after the session's ended, or whether you come back to it today or before tomorrow would be good, actually, before our writing. But I would like you to do that. That would really, really help, that I know. Now, some of them, you might be really dead clever and start with a preposition. So you could say, above my head was a large pile of books. Okay. Under the bridge lived an ugly troll. So you don't have to put your preposition within your sentence. Okay, so just to finish then, you can start with 5 of these. If you're dead clever, you might manage to get 2 in one sentence. I think you could. Off you go. I've put there you can make it have the same theme. You could. Football, whatever you choose. You can make it all about space, all about monsters, all about, or you could just do random ones. Okay, it's your choice as long as you're using the prepositions effectively. Remember the capital letter to start and a full stop to finish. Unless it's a question. Did you run across the road? Question mark. Okay, what I'm going to let you do, just for the last 20 seconds, is to have a little look at that list and make sure that you've got this list in your book, so we don't need to do that. I was going to say that you would need those to carry on with this work because we're going to finish, but you'll have those in your book already. So I'm just going to stop sharing the screen, and there we go. Okay, so today we've revised some spelling strategies. We've looked at our or sound, we've looked at compound words, and we've looked at prepositions, okay? And we will be able to use some of those prepositions in our writing tomorrow, which I think you're going to enjoy. It's going to be a little bit challenging, but I think you can do it because you've built those skills up over the last few weeks, and you will be flying by tomorrow. You'll have some golden sentences and some words to be proud of. So we're going to finish now. Carry on with your prepositions if you can, so that you've got 5 examples and I know you know how to use them effectively, and that will make your work easier tomorrow. I'm going to end the meeting. Thank you ever so much. Enjoy the day. Might be a stay-at-home day today, a stay-inside day today, but never mind. Have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow at this time, 9 o'clock. See you later.